Oracy. Don't know what it means to be actually up here. Surely I can empathize with you students. And it's even worse for me today because it is very emotional to be here today after a long year of absence. So hello everyone. It's brilliant to be able to meet you all in person. And hello to those of you who are actually watching live streaming, and this thanks to our fantastic IT crowd, Paolo Ribichini and Marco Campidella. I'm Enrica Cerconi, and I've been teaching English in this school for quite a few years, but this year, unfortunately, I've been away. So in this project, I've been a kind of an online presence, very much an online presence, inhabiting those spaces of Meet and Zoom. Yet I've enjoyed every bit of it, watching you students and us teachers grow and develop under the expert supervisions of educators, researchers, authors, and international Oracy leaders, Sarah Howell and Lisa Kester-Dodgson. Let me bring in a quote, a very famous one. I have a dream. And I would extend the quote, if I may, to I have a dream project, which has eventually come true when these two ladies here chose our institution to introduce the project on Oracy, based on the approach of Voice 21, a national British charity that exists to allow teachers and schools to provide a high-quality Oracy education so that all young people can find their voice for success in school and life. So you understand why it was a dream that came true, and because finally Sarah and Lisa will come and work closely with the students, and because it was about Oracy with Voice 21, and because of the vision of inclusivity that included. I also believe that a culture of Oracy can be the future for national school curricula here in Italy, and I don't think I'm alone on this. So we hope next year we can continue the project and we can actually extend to our languages and subjects. So there are a number of people I need to thank for this dream that actually came true. So first of all, our principal, Claudio Bernacchia, and for allowing us to carry out the project. Thanks to Sarah Howell and Lisa Kester-Dodgson for thinking of us, of our students, for their generosity and hard work. And thanks to the two teachers who actually came on board with not a bit of hesitation, Mrs. Eusebia Palombarini, who has been convening the project with me, and Mrs. Sofia Vinciuera. And before I stop, there is a person whose contribution in carrying out this project and many other projects within this school has been vital. And she's an institution in the school. She practically is the Liceo Linguistico Leopardi in Recanati. And we all want to thank her for having been so professional, competent, dedicated, encouraging, open-minded, and visionary throughout her career. I was privileged enough to have her as my mentor when I got here, and I was able to do the things that I did just because of her continuous help and support. I miss you already, actually, Eusebia. So, Palombarini student, you're very lucky indeed. So please join me in giving her a big round of applause. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Thomas Lorenzetti from class 2nd F, and I would like to talk to you about what my class and I learned during the Oracy Voice 21 project. Personally, I really liked it because I had the opportunity to improve my public speaking skills. But my class and I loved the fact that we could talk about specific subjects, and this thing isn't often asked to us during normal lessons. So having the opportunity to talk about specific topics and express all our emotions has been great. Public speaking is one of the most important abilities to learn. So my class and I will be very, very happy if we could continue this project even the next year. Concluding, I would like to thank Professoressa Enrica Cerconi, Eusebia Palombarini, Sarah Howell, and Lisa Kester-Dodgson to giving us the opportunity to participate in this project. Hoping we could continue it even the next year. Thank you for listening. I'm Thomas Lorenzetti.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas. That was very, very kind of you. Thank you. Now, we're going to start with our first group of students. So could Group A come and stand on the side here, along here? And we're going to start with Andrea and Eleonora. Eleonora, the floor is yours.
Okay, as you may have known, a lot of people have been writing their pronouns on their Instagram or Twitter bio. Now, okay. Why is it important to specify our pronouns? Well, that's what I want to talk about today, but before that, I'm going to explain a little something just for an introduction. So, what's gender identity? Gender identity is basically what gender we feel like we are, what we identify as. And then we have two types of people, cisgender and transgender people. A cisgender person is someone whose gender identity match with their biological gender. For example, me, I'm a cisgender female. Then we have transgender. Then we have a transgender person who that is someone whose gender identity does not match with their biological gender, and this term also refers to gender identities such as non-binary, gender fluid, bigender, agender, etc. Now, back to the main topic. Why should we specify our pronouns even if we're cisgender? There are three main reasons. First of all, it's 2021 and people are still being discriminated and judged for being who they are. And I think it's time for society to become more inclusive. Second of all, that would be a huge support for the trans community or the LGBTQ+ community in general, because then we would normalize it and people won't get misgendered anymore or called by their dead name. And we would also create a safe space for the whole LGBTQ+ community, since people are still afraid of coming out and they're still considered criminals in like 72 countries. And last but not least, the third point, by specifying our pronouns, we would also stop supposing the gender of a person just by looking at them, which is wrong for two reasons. First of all, a person is not defined by how they look. And by supposing the gender of a person, we discriminate everyone that does not identify as neither male or female. And that's it. I'm Eleonora Andriani from 2nd F. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope you enjoyed.
Okay, so we would just like to give you your certificate for your first public speech. Here you are, and I'd like to have a photograph, and here is a little souvenir. Would you like to get in the picture? Okay. Stand over here a little bit. Lisa. One's enough.
Thank you.
Photo shoot then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up we have Apis Leone. Can you give a round of applause, please?
To prepare this presentation, it took me about 90 minutes, and I won't consider the time I spent in school. 90 minutes is the time for a football match, not much then. However, I consider myself a very creative and at times brilliant person. I therefore believe that in these 90 minutes, my mind could have thought at least a couple of brilliant ideas, which, due to the preparation of this speech, have not seen the light. Perhaps humanity has lost the chance to know the truth about black holes. In fact, these 90 minutes could be the beginning of my journey towards the discovery of these mysterious bodies. Let's see how. I have 90 minutes free and no idea how to use them. So I decided to open YouTube and watch a video about the universe. The video is only 15 minutes long, but it is very well done and I am passionate about it. So I decided to Google some articles that talks about universe. In many of these, black holes are referred as something incredible and mysterious. I like mystery, and I start to get informed. I spent the remaining 55 minutes watching videos and reading articles about black holes. They become my passion and obsession at the same time. From then on, throughout my life, I concentrate on trying to understanding their functioning. From then on, I become a great physicist. And at the age of only 28, I formulate a brilliant theory that explains the truth about black holes. I am Leone Apis. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much for the superb speech. Would you like to take the certificate from Lisa? We can stand possibly over here. We can stand here for your photograph and your teacher. Okay, thank you very much, Ian. And next up we have Chiara Baldassari.
Okay, who's the best Maneskin member and why? Let's start with Damiano. He's a Capricorn and he's born 2 days before my birthday. He's tall, he has mullet, and not to mention his deep voice. Yeah, he sings very well and he has a sense of humor so strong. But Ethan, he was born in 2000, so we have 5 years of difference. I'm kidding, maybe. He has this long and fluffy hair that I want to touch, and he plays drums. And drums are one of my favorite instruments. But now let's talk about Victoria. Victoria, she's a Taurus, and I love Taurus. She's Danish and she likes Arctic monkeys. But the question is, who doesn't like them? Okay, turning to Victoria. I love her name and she played the bass. Yeah, she has these big blue eyes, too cute. And last but not least, Thomas. He's a Capricorn too, and we were born in close days. Plus, he's the youngest member, and he has a mullet and big blue eyes too. So, in conclusion, none of them is the best member because all of them are. I hope you enjoyed. I'm Chiara Baldassari from 2nd F. Thank you for listening.
Ready for the picture? Certificate behind you. Let's have a photograph.
Fantastic, well done.
Now, next up is Alessandro Attili. Round of applause.
Hello, everybody. Who among us has never wanted to travel through time, in the past and in the future? Well, if it were possible, for example, with the time machine, I would first of all go back in time to meet the 2 of the most important scientists in history. First, I would go to the 15th century to meet Leonardo da Vinci and tell him about the modern versions of his inventions. For example, the tank, the helicopter, the diving suit, and the parachute. And I would show him a 3-dimensional model of the human body. While I'm making this, I would film his reaction with my cell phone. Then I would go in the 16th, 17th century to meet Galileo Galilei. And I would show him all the photos we took of the planets of the solar system and the celestial bodies of the universe. Then I would bring him in the present to let him try our big telescopes. Finally, I would change the direction of my time machine and I want to go to the 2200. In this year, I would like to see if humans will still exist and what technology and science there will be. Of course, I want to do many other things, but these three were the most important. And what year would you like to go to, and who would you like to meet if the time travel were real? I'm Alessandro Attili, thank you for the attention. Thank you.
Okay. So next up we have Sofia Lambossi.
Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to ask a question a bit special. What is your greatest fear? Today, I'm going to talk about mine. I have several fears that over the year follow me in my path, but one of the biggest is the fear of snakes. Unfortunately, this fear was born when I was a child in the country of my grandmother's house. And running through the field, in front of me, I found a small snake. From that day, I have this fear to get be chased by this animal. On the day of my communion, I happened to pick up a giant African snake, and I realized then that ever if they didn't do anything to me, it was my obsession. More, I hate this kind of animal, but then fear because they very slay me to the touch. Thank you for the listening. I'm Sofia Lambozzi.
Okay, Group B, can you get ready?
Well done. Very good. Yeah. This is good. Okay. Your photograph. Very good. Yeah. Excellent.
Okay, so next up we have Elena Bartoli.
Hello everyone. Sometimes life offers you more than one end of cards to play. It offers you a new deck or even a new game. It is a quote came from Crave, the best book I ever read, and today I want to tell you about this. It's a paranormal romance and then means it talks about the existence of vampire, werewolf, dragon, and witches in the real world. And in addition to this, it speaks of friendship, hope, love, and choices. This is what characterizes every teenager. It was written by a young writer, Tracy Wolff, and it captivated me. In fact, I read it in 3 days. I recommend the book because it's at 3 interesting points for intrigued reader. First one, from the beginning, the reader can foresee what will happen in the future. Moreover, every chapter terminates with incomplete action that push you to continue reading. Second one, the location is inside the beautiful Gothic castle. Although the location is the background to the scenes, it is carved in the detail. For example, it talks about a spectral gallery of wood and rock, big tower, and colorful Gothic window. Last one, the gorgeous narration between Jackson and Grace, two protagonists, from they fell in love to their first kiss. Would you like to read this book? Thank you for the attention. I'm Elena Bartoli.
Superb. Congratulations. Well done. Okay, thank you very much. And next up is Alain Battistin.
If you could choose only one food to eat for the rest of your lives, what kind of food do you choose? I choose pizza, definitely. Before telling why I choose this food, I want to give you some anecdote. Pizza was created by Raffaele Esposito for Queen Margherita di Savoia in 1889. Our typical dish has the color of the Italian flag, red tomato sauce, white mozzarella, and green basil. It was sold exclusively as a street food before Pizzeria's restaurant. The ancient pizzeria Portalba in Naples is considered the oldest pizzeria in the world still existing today. I like pizza because it's a really simple food to prepare. You just need flour, water, and yeast for the base of the dish. Then you can add every topping above it. This is great because it can be also a savory dish for lunch or dinner. If you had ham, some vegetables, tomatoes, and you can also change the dressing every time, so you can get tired of eating it. But it can be a dessert or a breakfast meal if you put some chocolate or sweet on the pizza. After preparation, you have just to bake it in the oven and eat. I think it's possible to survive eating only pizza because it's a really simple food to prepare and not too expensive for your wallet. If you add more vegetables or use different type of flours, it can be healthy. So that's the reason why I will choose to eat only pizza for the rest of my life. What would you choose to eat for the rest of your lives? Thank you for listening. I'm Alain. I'm Alain Battistine from Science.
Alain, congratulations. Well done.
Make sure the next group's always ready. So next we have Federico Battistoni.
Good morning, everyone. In your opinions, what are the three things I can do without? The three things I can do without are, the first is the football, which for me is one of the most important things because it makes me feel good and makes me happy even in sad moment. And also because I am quite good. In fact, I have been playing football for about 8 years and I have also reached quite high levels. In fact, I play in a professional team as a goalkeeper. I love watching football match and I support Inter. The second thing is the fun friends with who I enjoy and spend most of my free time playing football or walking or mopeds, and with who I have had many experiences. The third most important things in my life are electronic devices. In fact, with them, I spend a lot of time playing video games with my friend or talking to each other. What are your things instead that you couldn't live without? I am Federico Battistoni, and thanks for listening.
Thank you very much. Well done. Come over a bit. Oh, photographer.
We lost her.
It's funny how you smile behind her.
I know, that's what I was thinking. You're
Behind
right.
the cheese.
Yeah.
Okay, super. So next up we have Alessandra Bocci.
Have you ever laid on your bed while listening to music and felt exactly like the songs were said? I think so. This happens to me really often. Today, I'd like to talk about a particular song that caught my attention. This song is Stare Male by Ariete. Maybe some of you may know it. This song is about a young girl, a teenager, whose name is Arianna, and she sings about herself and her feelings just as a teenager. She feels extremely sad, lonely, and lost, and she overthinks a lot
about all those things which gave her anxiety and sadness, and also affected her way to see people and the world in general. She would like to stop letting all those negative things ruin her days and her mood, but she really can't help it. She just can't. And this song ends with the positive idea that everything will be okay sooner or later. And she will be able one day to learn about all those things. And this is such a special song to me because it reminds me of a very hard period of my life that I've been through a few months ago. And I remember that I felt a little less alone while listening to this song, as I felt right as this girl. And what about you? Do you have a song that you could listen to for the rest of your life? I believe you do. I'm Alessandra Bocci, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Alessandra. An inspirational talk. Thank you. We have Matteo Berardi.
Good morning, everyone. Have you ever imagined to be a multi-billionaire person? Well, what would you do with all that money? Do you think it will make your life easier or happier? Well, money definitely make your life easier. You can buy a lot of things that normal people don't have. But does it make you really happy? Well, probably right now you are imagining yourself lying on the top of a yacht in a middle day afternoon summer. But are you sure that doing nothing from the morning to the night for the rest of your life will make you really happy? The point is that you can have even all the money of the world, but it will never make you happy. Happiness is. You can't buy happiness. To recap, money does make your life easier, but not happier. This because happiness is subjective and not objective. To be really happy before, you have to understand what happiness is really for you. Thank you all for listening. I'm Matteo Bernardi.
Superb, very deep. Thank you very much. Next up we have Lisa Maria Boni.
So, have you ever had a film which you can watch on repeat without ever getting sick of it? Because I have one, and it's The Truman Show. So, in a few words, The Truman Show talks about this man named Truman, as you may know by the title, and he gets recorded since he was born. And the point of the film is that he doesn't really know that everything around him is recorded, and there is this own TV show about him. So as the film moves on, he starts to understand that everything around him is too fake, and he wants to escape from that kind of reality. So at first, when I saw this film, I was 10 years old, and actually I didn't really understand the meaning of it, because I thought only that the protagonist, Truman, was really funny. I appreciated the role that Jim Carrey, the actor, had in this film, and I didn't really understand the meaning of it. And as I saw it older, I started to see another meaningful part of the film. So the television is a big part of life, and we see only what we want to see and not how real things go on in life. So a quote that I really enjoyed about this film is said by Truman multiple times in the film, and is good morning, and in case I don't see ya, good evening and good night. I'm Lisa Bonnet, and thank you for listening.
Next up, we have Linda Bruget. Round of applause. Louder.
Hello everyone. What do you know about lasagna? Well, I'm going to talk about this, my best pasta dish. Is lasagna, a typical dish in Italy since about 1900 and famous all over the world. It started in Bologna in 1881 and spread in the following years. Now I want to describe the classic recipe. Lasagna is composed of many layers of egg pasta, cut into sheets and separated by ragu sauce, and you can put bechamel, parmesan, and mozzarella cheese. This is the classic recipe, but there are many others. Lastly, I want to cover other recipes. We can be wet lasagna with peas, ham, and mushrooms, or vincis grassi. This recipe is the same as the classic lasagna, but in the ragu you must add entrails of animal. In other, it replaces the ragu with the mushrooms or pesto. In conclusion, my best pasta dish is lasagna, and there are many recipes to prepare this dish. And you, have you ever prepared or eaten lasagna? And finally, what's your favorite dish? I'm Linda Bruget, and thanks for listening to me.
Well done.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next up we have Beatrice Bufalari.
So, what is anxiety and how does it affect your life? Anxiety is often associated with the... Oops, this was not expected. Yeah. Is often associated with the combination of fear, anguish, and worry. And it usually follows a stimulus of lack of preparation for a given situation that the individual couldn't handle or didn't know how to respond to. So, but for those who suffer from anxiety disorders, this can be very different since this feeling it's caused by not certain situation and not particular causes. Unfortunately, this feeling has become quite frequent nowadays, and I think it's important to understand that it is normal to feel in a certain way and that having control over our own thoughts is not as simple. So, for example, I will connect my heart speeding up to the fact that I just walked up the stairs, but usually because of anxiety, I will just think I'm probably going to pass out, and I feel the urgent need to check if I'm not having a heart attack. So the feeling of having a heart attack has become quite frequent, along with the increasing of stress and anxiety. And I have often found myself in situations where feeling anxious has influenced my way of reacting or responding to certain events. An example is canceling plans at the very last moment, which is the very most frequent situation I find myself in when I panic. Or I tend to avoid social events because of that, because I can't really focus, or I can't have conversation with people, because it is very hard to think when your brain is numb. So because of that, I tend to miss important experiences in my life. And I think what we should really understand is that we should make mental health a priority in our life and speak more about it, because maybe in the future it will happen to not know how to respond to a panic, anxiety attack, because nobody ever taught us that feeling anxious is okay and how to overcome this feeling. And that's why I decided today to talk about it. I'm Patricia Bufalari. This was How Anxiety Affects My Daily Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Inspirational. Super. Congratulations. Next up we have, sorry about that. Next up we have Giulia Capitanelli. There's an invitation.
Good morning, everyone. Who wouldn't want to do a time travel? I would like to start by saying if time travel were real, everything would be more beautiful and interesting. First of all, think if we could travel into the past and see, for example, animals that are no longer there today because they've become extinct. See how ancient people lived. See how man has changed over the years. See and study more about the words of the past. Or simply look at how was the landscape a lot of years ago. Also, it would be a great adventure to travel into the future, because you could see what the world will be like in 50 years. Travel in your own flying car. Go to another planet and colonize it. Or meet with aliens and robots. In addition, you will see people who adapt to every kind of situation they find in. For instance, how fun it would be to change eye color or hair color in a second, or put racing legs if you have to do a race and we have to run fast. Also, maybe you will see people that use teleportation to go to the place they want with a simple clap of their hands. In my opinion, time travel will be possible in a few years because a lot of scientists have done many important experiments, and I have said that in the future it will be possible. So we just have to wait. I'm Giulia Capitanelli, and thank you for the listen.
Well done. Fantastic. Congratulations. Very good. Just a photo.
Okay, next we have, give her a warm welcome. Okay, eccomi. Okay, next up we have Greta Caporaglio.
Hello everyone. What are you scared of? Are you ready to find out what I'm scared of? I'm afraid of dogs, and I know you will think this is crazy because maybe it's the stupidest fear in the world. Unfortunately, it's something that often makes me really uncomfortable because some dogs are very nice, but as the dog approaches me, I freeze and I can't pet it. Like everyone else, I'm afraid of death, and you will think you are young, live your life, enjoy. But I'm afraid because I don't know when this is going to happen. I have a last question for you. Do you like or see horror film? Guess what? I am also afraid of this. And to conclude my talk for today, I would advise you not to be afraid of the judgment of others and live your life to the full, because at the end of the day, there will always be someone that doesn't like you and what you do. So that's it. I'm Grata Capodaglio, and thank you for the attention.
Okay. Marco, could you put the mic questo alzare il microfono? Okay, so next up, a warm welcome and an applause for Noemi Coltrinari.
Good morning, everyone. Imagine to watch an amazing match of volleyball. It'd be really interesting and fun. I want to watch it too. First of all, let me explain the rules of this game. It's simple. There are 2 teams of 6 players divided by the net. The ball can touch the floor, and 1 player can touch it twice. There are also different rules: 1 setter, 1 libero, and 4 attackers. For win a match, you have to win 3 sets, and every set is made up of 25 points. Now you know the basis of volleyball, so I want to tell you an anecdote. On my last match, an opposite player attacked the ball, but one of us wasn't ready for her to save it. The ball arrived on her face, but the defense was so good that we scored a point. After that, we checked if she was okay, and she laughed. I think in real life, the game gives more emotion than on TV. But if you can go like me, it's pretty good to watch it on TV too. So to conclude, all I wanted to say is volleyball isn't only a boring game. It's also great fun, and all the people can enjoy it, even though they don't know how to play volleyball. I'm Noemi Colcinari. Thank you for listening.
Super, Noemi. Thank you very much. Your certificate. Congratulations. Okay, next up we have Anna Conigliaro. Okay. We have Anna Conigliaro.
My question for today is, do you believe in soulmates? Now, yes, I do, even if I haven't met mine yet. I know it can be difficult to meet yours. In fact, it could be dead in the other part of the world, but it's not impossible. Various traditions talk about soulmates, especially Japanese one, which are very interesting and mysterious. One, my favorite, is the red thread of fate. 2 people connected by the red thread are destined lovers, regardless of time, place, and circumstances. This magical cord may stretch or tangle, but never break. You will find a soulmate when you least expect it, and it could be possible to meet various soulmates throughout your life. When you feel that the person is your soulmate, he or she probably is. However, you shouldn't get too clingy with that relationship. An interesting fact is that soulmates don't depend on gender and romance. In fact, 2 friends can be soulmates, 2 girls can be soulmates, and 2 boys as well. They come into your life, they open up some aspects of your being, making you confront them. In general, these relationships, unfortunately, are likely to end turbulently. They come down and tear down the walls you have built around yourself, and they reveal your vulnerabilities so you can face them and perfect yourself. In the end, do you think you have already met yours? My name is Ama Conigliaro, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Anna.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and next up we have Daniel Fontanella.
Hello everybody. I'm going to explain to all of you why I choose to speak about if I could eat only one food for the rest of my entire life. I decided to talk about chocolate salami. It's a mixture of eggs, Oracy biscuits, butter, bitter cocoa, sugar, coffee powder, honey, and dark chocolate. This is my aunt's recipe, which I tasted for the first time when I was 7 years old. My aunt used to prepare it for me and my family when we went to her house. This dessert is used in Italy for every festivity. In every part of Italy have a different name and the recipe is the same. In Emilia-Romagna, this dessert is consumed in the Easter period. Chocolate salami have its origin in Italy and Portugal. The area actually produced this dessert is Sicily and Italy. This dessert is known in every part of the world with different names and different ingredients. I think that is one of my favorite food I have ever eaten in my entire life, for its sweetness and the mix of tasty ingredients. Even if it is a caloric food, I always eat it because I'm a good eater. Who wouldn't like to try my aunt's fantastic chocolate salami? That's all. I'm Dan Fontanella. That's all for today. Thank you for listening to my topic.
Congratulations. And next up, we have Emma D'Urso.
Okay. In this world, there are people who like rock music, there are people who like pop music, there are also people who like classic music, and then there are people who like folk music, and that's me. Folk music, I really don't know how to describe it. Well, let's say that listening to folk music, you will have the pleasure of listening to, besides instruments we all know like violins or guitars, instruments which are a little bit more particular like harps, hurdy-gurdies, harmonicas, tambourines, bagpipes, and so on. There are so many types of folk music. I'm saying this because if we like mix folk music with heavy metal, we get the folk metal. One example may be Nordic music, like there are tons of folk metal Nordic bands. I also follow a Swedish folk metal band. If you listen to one of their songs, you can hear the sweet cute sound of the recorder together with the sharp and noisy sound of the heavy metal guitars, which is sick. And then we can have folk punk, folk rock, folk pop, and many, many others. The cool thing about folk music is that every country has its own folk music with its own particular instruments, like Scottish music has bagpipes. Italian folk music has mandolins. My favorite one is the Irish folk music. It's just so beautiful with all its violins, accordions, harps, and tin whistles. I really like this last one. One of my hobbies is indeed playing the tin whistles. Today, I brought you my two Heidi tin whistles. This red one has a sharper sound. In fact, I use it most of the times. This gray one has a breathier sound. Lots of people do not like it because it takes lots of air to play, but I think it's pretty nice instead. At this point, as the last thing, I would like to play you a song named Damn More Lasses on my red whistle. Hope you enjoy it. Devo avvicinare. Ok. I am Adurso. Thanks for listening.
That was amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. And next we have Mattia Guardabassi. Mattia Guardabassi. Un applauso di loro.
Good morning, everyone. Could you live without eating pasta every day? I think not, because Italian food is the best in the world. And personally, I can't live without eating pasta at lunch. In my opinion, the best pasta dish is pasta alla carbonara. I love it, and every year my grandmother, when it's my birthday, cooks a fantastic carbonara dish. This dish was born in Lazio in the Second World War, when American soldiers cooked using bacon, eggs, and spaghetti. To make a tasty dish of carbonara, you have to use spaghetti and not other types of pasta. You have to use guanciale and not the bacon. You have to put a bit of pecorino cheese, and you have to put some egg yolk. Finally, you have to put some pepper and a little salt. Unfortunately, outside of Italy, the original ingredients are replaced by variants, such as the use of parmesan instead of pecorino, or the use of cream. Since pasta alla carbonara is one of the most popular dishes of Italian cuisine, every year on the 6th of April is celebrated the Carbonara Day, a day completely dedicated to this fantastic dish, to preserve the tradition and spread this recipe. Also, many famous people love this tasty dish, such as Gianluigi Buffon, who loves this type of pasta, but for his work as a sportsman, can only eat it once a year on his birthday. Another sportsman lover of Italian cuisine is Ivan Zaitsev, who cooks pasta alla carbonara around the world. In conclusion, I think that if a tourist visits Italy, must try this dish, but absolutely prepared by an Italian cook. I'm Mattia Guardavassi, and thanks for listening.
Congratulations.
Come on. And next up we have Bojan Djordjevic.
What would happen if we couldn't use social media? I'm going to talk about how social media have made my life better in some perspectives and worse in other perspectives. First of all, I will talk about what I personally think about social media. I think that social media, if used in the right way, are a good way to communicate and to have fun. We can say that the problem comes when there is excessive use of social media. Excessive use of them can cause anxiety, stress, insomnia, and health problems. Me, for example, I only use social media when I am free and only after finishing my homework. In my opinion, social media are not for the weak people because they can be victims of cyberbullying and can receive many insults. Very often when someone is weak, doesn't have the courage to answer to insults, and people take advantage of it, by doing worse. So, to summarize, I think that social media are great, but we have always to be careful. This was my presentation. I'm Bojan Đorđević, and thank you all for listening.
Congratulations. Okay, and next up we have Nicola Puccini.
So, can I leave this on? Because I'm not a superhero, but I want to let this on.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to tell you about the greatest lesson I have ever learned. After my grandfather's death, I understood a lesson that has changed my personality and has made me be more responsible. In fact, after his death, I understood that it's not important how much time we have, but how we spend it. We waste a lot of time, and logically, we shouldn't, because in the future, we may also regret about some decision that we have made. And because time does not go back, so we shouldn't waste it. And it's sad because we live only once, and we can afford the luxury of wasting our opportunities and our time. I believe that each of us, if we could go back in time, would probably do it even without thinking about it, because each of us has probably lost something, such as relatives or great opportunity. I also think that so the only thing that we can do is to learn from our mistakes, as not to repeat them in the future and to improve ourselves more and more. So, as the famous Latin author Seneca said, it's not true that we have a little amount of time. The truth is that we waste a lot of it. So, guys, don't waste your time and carpe diem. Catch the moment. Thank you. I'm Nicola Guzzini. Thank you for listening.
Inspirational. Well done. Super.
Congratulations.
I'm a little bit nervous. I think that you may not notice that.
We all are.
Well done.
Well done. Okay, so the next we have Beatrice. Beatrice's not here. We have Giulia Latini.
Hello, everyone. Imagine if you could actually see dinosaurs or see if robots will rule the world. Well, with time travel, it will be possible. Today, I'm going to talk about time travel. My talk will be in 3 parts. Let's talk about science. Will time travel be possible? For some experts, reaching the future is technologically possible, while the real problem is go back to the past. For example, Professor of Quantum Mechanics Seth Lloyd argues that GPS is an everyday example of time travel. Now, let's talk about time machine. Scientists already know how to build a time machine, but it hasn't not yet been produced. Finally, I tell you what I think. For me, time travel is cool, but dangerous, because you don't know what could happen if you go to the past or the other way around. I think that if it were possible to go to the past, I would go to the Middle Age, because it intrigues me as historical period and I find it interesting. To summarize, will time travel be possible? Likely, but still nothing for sure. I want to end my speech with a sentence from the movie Back to the Future. If I had a little more time, hey, wait, I have all the time I want. I have a time machine. I'm Giulia Latini, and thank you for listening.
Well done.
Okay, so welcome back everybody. We're here for the second half of our speeches and we're going to kickstart with group F. Here we go. So could we please, could you give a round of applause to Laura Fabietti?
So, would you rather writing on a tablet or the usual textbooks? So, my talk is going to be structured in 3 parts. And the first point is, in my opinion, Italian schools are far away compared to the other countries, to America or the rest of Europe. And we still bring to schools so many things that can be easily replaced with a tablet. For example, a pencil case filled with pens, pencils, highlighters, and so on. Do we even want to talk about the amount of books and textbooks that we carry on our school bag? So my question is, why don't we replace all of these things with a single one? With a tablet, all the pencil colors you want, all the books your school requires, everything can be replaced. Second point is the environment. Nowadays, we use a lot of paper problem that can be solved with the use of technology to stop the waste. Many people may now be thinking, yeah, but I can't look at the screen all the time. It would ruin my eyes. I still prefer traditional. Yeah, that's true. Many people may struggle with it, but I promise that there are many options. For example, there is the eye protection. You can adjust the brightness and also change the color of the screen to a light brown instead of the usual white. So in conclusion, I believe that schools must start to be more innovative and provide tablets in schools. Personally, I'm a tablet lover and I really enjoy the use of it. And for me, it would be a living dream to use technology at school. So yes, I find tablets way more better than textbooks. Thank you for listening. I'm Laura Fabietti.
Thank you very much. Let's take the certificate. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Over to the next one. Next, could you give a warm welcome and an applause to Giulia Maroni?
How long is eternity? The focus of my talk today is on the vampires. My talk will be in 3 parts. So the first point is the description of the vampires. Vampires are supernatural creatures similar to humans, but with some difference. They have sharp teeth, or they don't sleep at night, and they drink human blood. They are faster, stronger, and they have super hearing. The next point I want to make is that vampires are present in many movies. For example, in The Vampire Diaries, or the originals, and Twilight. My favorite is the originals. The originals is composed of 5 seasons. Now I want to describe the series. The series is about the family Michelson, or their adventures. Another program is the Vampire Diaries. It talks about vampires in detail, the Salvatore brothers. In conclusion, I like vampires because are interesting subject. Also, I like the fact that they can turn off their emotion at any time, giving a sense of self-control. Thank you for listening to me. I'm Giulia Maroni.
Louder, very good. Well done, Giulia. Congratulations. And next we have Laura Gagliardi.
Why music is important to me. Music is everything to me. Music is important to me for many reasons. For example, music is the best hobby that I ever had. It's the only that never dropped me and abandoned me. It's the only one which knows the way who I am. Is the only who stays there when I vent. It does nothing, but when I put the headphones on, I feel like in another world. It has saved me from many situations. It seems like it's just a thing, but it's special and it doesn't matter, but it makes me feel good. Music has always been a special place for me. Ever since I was little, I have grown up with it, and it's keeping me the promise that of not to leave him alone when I don't need it. In the end, music is always in my heart, especially in difficult moments like anxiety, and it makes me feel better for a few minutes. I definitely prefer to stay at home all day listening to it than that to go out, especially outdoors. I listen to my favorite song and watch the landscape, the sunset, or simply the view of the sea or the mountains. My name is Laura Gagliardi. Thanks for listening.
Well done.
Congratulations. Well done. Okay. So this. Take this as well.
Okay, and next we have Lorenzo Mengucci.
Everyone had a goldfish, right? When you were a child, I suppose. Definitely, a child doesn't want to kill it, but this is actually doing when he keeps the poor fish in the bowl. For him, it's like a gas chamber. Yes, you heard well, a gas chamber. His wastes burn his gills, and the round shape of the bowl damages his sight. Suddenly, he dies, and he dies from a very bad death. Please, don't do this. Don't do this for the fish, but for yourself also. Imagine your conscience over to putting that small fish in a gas chamber. How would you feel? A lot of times, for example, when I go for a walk with my dog in mountains, I usually bring my walking stick. And a lot of people tell me with their dog, please don't use that stick. My dog is scared. That means it was beaten some years ago. And did you know that in Asian countries, they eat gastric juices of the birds? They pick that gross liquid with a drinking straw from the bird's belly. But this when it's still alive. So, today, in 2021, we can't allow this form of mistreatment against animals. And for today, I finish it, and I hope everyone understands my topic. And Lorenzo Mengucci, thanks for your attention.
Congratulations.
Più a sinistra, più qua. Più qua e dietro. Vicino al tavolo.
And next we have Federica Giorgetti.
Alfred Hitchcock once said, "Movies are like life with boring bits cut out." Did you know that the 48% of Italian people watch action films? So today I'm going to talk about the reasons why I prefer action movies and TV series instead of other types of films and TV series. First of all, of course, action films and TV series have got more dynamism and movements. In fact, they are full of fights, explosions, and acrobatics that show us the courage and the physical and psychological skills of the protagonists. I like this type of films because with these eventful scenes, they make me feel adrenaline and excitation. Another thing is the suspense that makes the film more interesting and involving because you don't know if your favorite character will die or not. Lastly, they have got a good storyline that is useful to give us more emotions and feelings. In fact, it makes the film more emotional and I don't know, emotional and moving. And a good example that includes all the points I said before is Money Heist, which is a TV series on Netflix. And wouldn't you like to act or play in an action film? I'm Federica, and this is my presentation.
Ok, andando avanti, allora abbiamo il gruppo G. We've got for us now Thomas Lorenzetti.
Sport teaches you character. It teaches you how to feel when you win and when you lose. It teaches you to play by rules. This was a quote by Jean King, who was an old American tennis player, and I learned a very important lesson from this quote, which is to never give up. Have you ever felt excluded by your team? Well, I have. When doing a basketball game, my coach didn't let me play. I felt excluded by the team, and even if my team won, I felt excluded, and I wasn't happy. But in that moment, I discovered one of the best things of team sports, which are teammates. In fact, my teammates helped me to improve and to train better, better, and better. In fact, I love team sports, even because you can make new friends, your teammates help you when you're in need, and I love training together. And I also love sports because it's, I think, the best hobby you can do because you can practice something you love, for me, basketball, and you can do it with your friends. So concluding my speech, I think that sport is one of the best hobbies you can do. Which is your favorite hobby? Thank you for listening. I'm Thomas Lorenzetti.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well done, Thomas. Let's go.
Over this way.
Well done.
Okay, next up, do we have Ivan Ominetti?
Imagine waking up in the morning, going to the TV and discovering that the zombie apocalypse just started. What would you do? In my opinion, the first thing I will do is start thinking about how to survive in this situation. So in this speech, I will tell you how to survive in a zombie apocalypse. According to science, we have to say that it's practically impossible, but who knows? So according to some strange people, the first thing that we have to do is make a kit that can help us survive for 90 days. In this kit, we have to put some food, some water, some medication, some clothes, some weapons, a bag, of course, and a sleeping bag. Another thing that we have to do during our survival is to start taking something from our exploration that might be helpful for our survival. Another thing that we don't have to do is to don't waste our medications, for example, and don't trust other survivors. Another thing that we have to do too is to have a radio, because with a radio we can speak to other survivors and maybe help each other. Another thing, a very important thing, is to don't waste food and water, because they aren't. We can take them for hunting with hunting and fishing. So now that you heard my speech, you can know how to survive in a zombie apocalypse. I'm Ivano Minetti. Thanks for your attention.
Congratulations. At the table over this way. Oh, yeah, sorry. Oops. Okay, well done. Okay, and next up we have Bianca. So, this. Can you give a round of applause for Bianca Marcolini?
Imagine being captured and taken away from your home and your family. This is what the main character of the movie goes through. His name is Spirit and he's a stallion. He gets captured by humans to work in the railways. I have liked this cartoon movie since I was a kid, especially because it talks about topics like freedom and friendship between an animal and a human. During his journey, Spirit meets a Native American man called Little Creek, who was captured with him. They help each other several times, and Little Creek becomes the first man that Spirit trusts. However, freedom is the most important thing for Spirit, so in the end, he says goodbye to his new friend and goes back to his family. My favorite scene of the film takes part here, where Spirit and his mother see each other again after a long time being apart. Their eyes start shining of happiness, and the atmosphere is really moving. I also love the personality of the main character, Spirit. He's brave, confident, and loves freedom. He's very, very stubborn and doesn't trust easily, but he's a leader, and he will do anything, like risk his life to protect his loved ones. Now, going back to the story, I want to ask you a question. If you were in the same situation as Spirit, would you choose to stay with your new friend and live your new life, or like he did, go back to your family and your origins? My name is Bianca Marcolini. Thanks for listening.
You have your certificate, that's fine. You can go back to your place. Thank you very much, Bianca, for doing it again. Okay, and next up we have Cecilia Paciotti.
Good morning, everyone. Maneskin won the Eurovision Song Contest with Zitti e Buoni, a great rock song, right? Did you know that the members of Maneskin started to study classical music? Exactly. Most rock musicians have studied classical music. For example, Freddie Mercury, before becoming frontman of Queen, started studying classical piano and singing in a choir. Today, I'm going to talk about music, with a special focus on classical and rock music. The main difference between classical and rock music are the instruments. In rock, the instruments are electronic, while in classical, the instruments are acoustic. Classical music has inspired a lot of great rock authors. For example, in Love of My Life by Queen, the piano solo seems composed by Mozart. Many virtuoso guitarists play classical songs arranged for their instruments in hard rock. For example, the third movement of Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven and the Summer of the Four Seasons by Vivaldi are very popular. To summarize, a lot of emotions are provoked through classical and rock music. I love both types because they are different, but they are both very beautiful. I'm Cecilia Paciotti, and thank you for your attention.
Congratulations, Cecilia.
And very good job. Oracy skills, super. Okay, great. Okay, and next we have Erika Marciguerra.
It's easy to be happy in Sicily, but it's an operation that requires a biological and a cultural adaptation. You have to learn to live time in the Sicilian way. So the subject of my speech is Sicily, the largest island in Italy. But why Sicily? Because it's the land where I was born and where my whole family was born, my mom, dad, best friend, all. Because for me it's one of the most beautiful region in Italy, for the sea, the culinary arts, the culture. But like everything, it also has a negative aspects. Now I want to focus on the aspects I love the most, and I hope you will like them too. Sicily is famous for its beach, its sea, the sun, and the relax. And it's it's known that those who go to the Sicily can't eat healthily because, for example, I don't know if you know the word arancino. Yes, that bowl meat with meat sauce is Sicilian specialty. Or, for example, the granita with pastry with fat is a summer specialty. How do you think the inhabitants are? Very often they are described as bad people. Instead, it's opposite. They are funny, ready to always help you. But as I said before, there are also negative aspects. After all, every funny and beautiful things. It wouldn't seem for the sea in Sicily, especially in the eastern part of the country. There are many industry. The inhabitants are defined as bad because some groups of people who carry out action outside the law. In conclusion, before I'm moving to Castelfidardo, I lived in Augusta, in a town by the sea. So if you ever want to take an holiday in Sicily, you know what and who you will find. I am Erika Marciguerra. Thanks for attention.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. And next we have Victoria Poeta.
I think we often associate the idea of sport with fun and game, but it's not just that. Sport also gives great life lessons that help us to improve ourselves. In my opinion, the first lesson it gives us is that work is key to success. When you start a sport, you are always scarce, but with hard efforts, we could beat any record. The second is teamwork. Will anyone be able to win a volleyball competition if there is no coordination in the team? Well, I guess not. In any team sport, the credit for both success and failure falls on every player, so every move should be a team effort. Another lesson is the defeat. You cannot always win, just like sport as in life. You have to learn to accept it and overcome it. I could go on for hours talking about the lesson that sport gives us. But I would like to end with a quote by Michael Jordan. Obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go to it, or work around it. I am Vittoria Poeta, and thanks for listening.
Congratulations. Okay, complimenti.
And next up, we have Elena Massachusetts.
Who wouldn't love to eat pasta carbonara every day? Didn't you know it is one of the most popular and known Italian food in the world? Imagine having the opportunity to savor this delight whenever you want. Well, you can do it because carbonara is very simple to make and everyone can prepare it. Today, I'm going to talk about this fantastic dish and I'm going to give you some information about it. First of all, where does it come from? Carbonara expresses the Roman culture and it was born in 1944 thanks to some American soldiers who gave Roman cooks some ingredients they had available to prepare something to eat. What do we need to prepare carbonara and what is the process? The ingredients are guanciale, a type of bacon, eggs, pecorino romano, salt, and pepper. And here is the process. First of all, you have to cut guanciale into sticks and cook it without oil. Then let it brown until it becomes crisp. Then you have to prepare the cream. Mix egg yolks with pecorino romano and add 40-50 grams of water. The last thing to do is putting salt and pepper to the eggs. Your dressing is now ready. Once pasta is ready to season it with guanciale and pour the mixture of yolks on pasta. You can also add and put more pecorino and pepper to make it tastier and more delicious. Remember that the yolks need to become very creamy and that you can't use bacon, just guanciale. Where and when can we eat carbonara? You can eat carbonara as the main dish for any occasion, from a family lunch to a romantic dinner, and of course when you are with your friends. All the ingredients in carbonara combine well each other and the flavor that comes out is fantastic. The creaminess of the eggs and the crunchiness of the guanciale make this dish unique. It is really a treat for your palate and you can't do without it. And you, don't you love carbonara? I'm Elena Massachusetts. Thank you for listening.
Everybody loves pasta carbonara.
Yeah.
Please. Smile with your eyes. Okay, thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. And next up, we have Aurora Raccio. Non c'è Aurora Raccio. Okay, next we have Chiara. We have Chiara Bongini.
Hello everybody, what I'm going to talk to you about today is the Corpse Bride. The Corpse Bride is definitely one of the greatest films that Tim Burton ever made. But first I gotta ask you, do any of you actually know who Tim Burton is? Tim Burton is an American film director, mostly known for his gothic way of making films. For some of us, Halloween is every day, once he said. In fact, all of his films follow this spooky aesthetic, which I personally am obsessed with. You might not know him for who he is, but you most definitely know some of his most successful films, such as Heather Scissorhands, A Nightmare Before Christmas, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Alice in Wonderland, Sweeney Todd, and as I said, The Corpse Bride. But he made many more. So back to The Corpse Bride. The Corpse Bride is an animation film made in 2005 with the voices of Johnny Depp, Helena Carter, and Emily Watson that talks about a young man named Victor in an arranged marriage with Victoria Everglow, a beautiful girl from his village that he will instantly fall in love with. Due to accomplish his marriage, Victor needs to practice his vows, so he ends up in a nearby forest, pronouncing his vows with a tree, and places his wedding ring on a root. However, the root turns out to be the finger of a dead woman named Emily, who rises from her grief, claiming that she is now Victor's wife, and takes him to the land of the dead with her. So this was the plot of The Corpse Bride. I really hope I inspired some of you to watch it. It is one of the most iconic films ever, so it's certainly worth it. And that's it. I think my time is up. I'm Chiara Manghini. Thank you for listening to me. Congratulations. Thank you.
Here a bit more. Where is that right? Okay, super. Thank you very much. Okay, and next we have Sarah Rubini.
Hi everybody. Who does gymnastics? Well, I choose it as my topic because it's my passion. This is my passion because it's maybe a silly thing, but when I practice it, I feel well with me, with my body. I don't know how to explain it for you, but it's like things about when you go to the beach to see the sunrise, or when after a walk you arrive on the top of the mountain and there's a fantastic view and you say, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And this is the sensation that I feel when I'm practicing gymnastics. When I win, when I lose, and when I fall out. And believe me, when I tell you, I fall many times. Because as the movie tickets say, in gymnastics, you fall with your ankle, with your back, with your knees, and also with your neck. But if you love this sport, you will always find the strength to get up and try again. Because if you love what you do, every single thing have a different meaning. Every single thing have the taste of happiness. Also, when I do gymnastics, I love the fact that I can even fly for a few seconds. And in this, neither my hand nor my feet touch the ground. And all of it is fascinating. So I want to leave you with a question. Do you love what you do? I'm Sveva Rubini. Thank you for the listening.
Okay, thank you very much. We're moving on to the last group, and first up is Kabriye Mustafi.
Voltaire and Spider's-Man Uncle Ben both said, with great power comes great responsibility. This means that social media puts the world in the palm of our hand, so we have to be careful how to use them and take all our responsibilities in case something goes wrong. Did you know that about 58% of Italians use social networks and the average time spent on them is 2 hours a day? Well, I didn't know it either, so I inquired, and today I would like to talk to you about the positive and negative side of social media. Let's start with the positives. They are the best communication tool we have to communicate with the outside world. We can keep in touch with our friends through chat, calls, or video calls without having to see them, especially in this moment of virus. We are updated on everything that happens in the live world. And the best part is that we can only share and show what we want about our private life, so we can protect ourselves. Next, I want also like to talk about how, however, they can be a dangerous tools. First of all, they are a huge disadvantage for our ego and our self-esteem. For example, when we post a photo, if you don't receive certain likes, we think people don't like it and we delete it. But why we do it? It should please ourselves, not other people. We are obsessed with these tools, so much so we can't live without them, and this also reduces our sociality. And you, what do you think? Are social media more harmful or useful? I'm Kabriye Mustafi. Thank you for listening to me.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Davide San Paolo.
Henri Matisse once said, jazz is rhythm and meaning. If it wasn't, we couldn't have rap and trap music that are simply derivatives of this genre of music that was refined but popular at the same time. Good morning, everyone. I'm Davide, and today I'm going to tell you how jazz music influenced today's music. So the first point is that rap and trap have some details in common with jazz. In fact, they were taken not only one particular, like improvisation, that is present in rap battles or in famous shows like the XXL Freshman, but also the variation of the song's rhythm that generally happens with its acceleration, the extreme attention to the proper continuity of the rhythm, and many others. Next point that I want to make is related to the places, to the ambiences in which people created these types of music, because those are very similar to each other. Indeed, they were born in poor neighborhoods or awful environments and were produced by people who tried to obtain a better life or who tried to escape from their life's harshness. Also, in these two different eras, Black people dominated the scene because they were the ones who were originally deported from Africa, a setting in which music was deeply rooted into people's hearts. Lastly, I want to explain why rappers and producers have selected jazz samples and transformed them from their songs. The dark and deep sound of jazz was perfect for the new music because it helped to define a genre that imitated the underground ambience in which it was born and produced dark vibes that have been one of the most important rap features. So, to recap, I would say that we have a giant debt with jazz music, and that if you're racist, remember that without African people, you probably couldn't listen to the music that you like. I'm Davide San Paolo, and thanks for your attention.
Well done. Let's take a photograph here.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay, and next up we have Giulia Pomponi.
What would you do if your favorite vampire suddenly came to life? We all know there are a lot of different kinds of vampires according to different movies or different TV series. People might love them or hate them, but I personally think they are the coolest out of every single supernatural creature that man ever came up with. My almost unhealthy obsession with vampires started when I was really young, maybe 8 years old, and my sister and I started to watch and read all the Twilight Saga movies and books, and we both fell in love with Edward Cullen, of course. A year later, she came up to me again and told me that we should really watch this TV series together called The Vampire Diaries. It then became my favorite TV show and made a good 90% of my personality. In fact, I accidentally memorized like 90% of my favorite characters' quotes, and she is Catherine Pierce. She is a really beautiful woman, and growing up looking at her really helped me with a lot of things. For example, I have really, really pale skin, and we all know that is one of the main features of vampires. I used to hate it, but watching them having this really pale skin actually helped me to start to love it. I then started to wear all black clothing and the rings and do makeup like she does. And that really helped me to appreciate myself more. Last but not least, we all know that vampires have this kind of button that they can switch on and off depending on the situation they're in. In fact, they can manage their emotions and decide if they want to keep it on and off. And in situations in which they don't want to get hurt, they switch it off. And it really helped me to control my emotions and not let them overwhelm me. And last but not least, we have their ideal of love. In fact, we all know that vampires tend to fall in love with humans, and they will have to turn them so that they can stay together for the rest of their life. And the fact that someone can risk their own life to be with you forever is something really, really romantic. And I always look up at it and wishing that that could be me one day. And what about you? Do you love vampires as much as I do? I'm Julia, and thank you for your attention.
And we have Tommaso Sabatini.
So, what would you do if you found yourself in a zombie apocalypse? Well, if you watch a movie about them or play the video game, you probably know the basics, like, for example, resources like food, water, weapons, and other supplies. Then you should find a safe shelter in which you can live and defend yourself. And if you manage to find a military base or a shooting range, then grab as many weapons as you can and other supplies. And after that, there could be different types of zombies, like, for example, walkers, which, like the name says, they walk, or runners, which they run, or even bigger zombies. But they all have something in common, which they're not very intelligent, because they can't open doors or climb ladders like a human. And to kill them, you either have to shoot them or cut their heads off. But it's preferable to use something like a baseball bat or something like that, because shooting them would attract more zombies. And then another important thing is to avoid a group of zombies, because if it's only one, you can kill him, but it depends on the type. But if it's a group or worse, a horde, then you should run away. And in the end, in case you get bitten, it's better to know if it's a curse or a virus, because if it's a curse, then you might not get infected. But if it's a virus, then you should amputate your arm or leg or whatever is bitten. So I'm Tommaso Sabatini, and that was my speech. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Okay, thank you. And now we have Erika Savini.
Okay. Do you know anything about Caribbean dance? Well, today I'd like to tell you my experience about it, because from this activity I found out what was my biggest dream. At the age of 6, I started my Caribbean dance lessons, and I've attended it for about 10 years. Certainly, in this long period, I've always listened to Caribbean songs, which led me to discover what was my biggest dream, that is go to Cuba. I've always wanted to travel the world and discover new places, but when I was a child, I didn't know which country would have been better to visit. But once I've started my lessons, I had no more doubts about it. I'd really like to go in this country, and there are several things I would like to do to know more about its culture, like visit all the cities and the monuments, and particularly learn more about Caribbean dance, obviously. Now, in this horrible situation with the virus, I can only do one thing, that is travel with my mind. So I did some research, and I watched videos and documentaries, and I really hope that one day I'll be able to see all the things that I saw in this photograph before. In conclusion, I only want to tell you a sentence which reminds you to follow your dreams. That is, a winner is a dreamer who has never given up. I'm Erika. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Erika. Congratulations. Well done. You've got your mask on. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we have our last speaker of this morning. We have, please welcome Rebecca Tringali.
So, hello everyone.
I'd like to start by asking you a question. Would you like to stop time and never ever change your exterior appearance? Because that's what my favorite book, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, talks about. So if I have to be sincere, I wasn't even planning on buying it. I just bought it because it was on sale, and that's even a little bit hilarious. So this book is my favorite because it taught me lots of things that I would have never learned in such a short time. It taught me to always look forward in my life and never to look back. It taught me to appreciate myself for who I am at the moment and not for whom maybe I won't be, for whom I wasn't, or for whom I was. And it taught me also to appreciate myself at the moment and never to listen to others' judgments, because that would just ruin your growing process. So this book rhetorically reveals the inexistent perfection of human beauty through a bizarre story of a young rich man who lets a portrait grow old instead of him so that it can remain forever young and beautiful. So I'd like to recommend this book to all of you because I think that you would learn lots of things as I did. So in conclusion, I'd say that I would never like to stop my time to remain forever young and beautiful instead of ignoring other important features of my personality. Thank you for listening. I'm Rebecca Tringali. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Now, we have a little extra today that we would like to, something special for an extremely special person who has been very generous with her time for many, many years, a professional in a class of her own, and we would like Rebecca to say some words for this. Rebecca, this is dedicated to
Professoressa Eusebia Palombarini. Yes. So, dear Professor, we wanted to spend a few words since we won't be able to have you next year with us anymore. These 2 first years have been tough. We're all struggling somehow. We had lots of difficulties, mainly at school, but we are very grateful to have found, especially from you, support and assistance. We discovered a professor who wasn't just concerned about teaching what she had the duty to, yet we met also a real human being, willing to lend a hand anytime we felt confused or lost. You always tried to reach us out, to teach us significant life values, such as the importance to be a united group and supportive group, or to look at the bright side of any situation all the time. We have acted more on our personal growth thanks to your determination to have always wanted the best for us. These are not just characteristics everyone has. You have a deep passion for what you have to do, for your work and for your concerns, which stand out to everyone at first sight. And all of this is very inspiring and encouraging. We have understood that in life, we need to carry on something we love, as you did with the environment you worked at and with the work itself until the very last moment. Surely, we have discovered a new way to learn, more passionate, more enthusiastic, something we wouldn't have been able to learn without you. The English language for us wasn't just grammar and vocabulary, but also a discovery through the charming culture as for its poetic nature. In conclusion, thanks to you, thank you to have been an important element of our journey. We will never forget you and we will always carry you in our hearts. Yes.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. And on the day of the Spark speech, I'm speechless. And yes, just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, everybody, for being such clever students, supporting, helpful, friendly, and, patient, also patient with me. And, well, just thank you and your families who have always supported me during this last few years, 2 years actually. And I hope you will remember my passion for what I've been doing all these years. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now I have something special to share with you. This is for Lisa and I. This was a pilot project here in Recanati to set the basis to do lots of different courses in the future. And what we decided to do is we would like to give a gift to 2 people who we think gave an outstanding speech, not for the way it was delivered, but this time for the content that really sparked an emotion within us. And we would like to give you a little something to represent our thanks for giving this speech today and for letting us take home something. But we must say it's been really, really difficult to choose because everything has given us something. We're taking home lots of different messages from you all today. And we'd like to thank you very much for all of that. People who we would like to give a little gift to, it's a little book. It's The Hill We Climb, the poem by Amanda Gorman, who we think will spark the future generations like you. So for class 2F, the person who we would like to give this gift to is Bufalari Beatrice. Could you come up to the stage? So thank you very much for your content. It was inspiring and very well thought out. And we think everybody received a very important message about mental health awareness and anxiety, which we all have. Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well done. Congratulations. And the person who we would like to receive our gift in Prima, again, because the inspiration and the words really left us with goosebumps when we heard it, both in class and here today. And that person is Nicola Buzzini.
I think we should really thank Sarah Howell and Lisa Kester-Dodgson for all the work that they did with you, and I hope you agree with me to give them a big round of applause. So please join me with this, please. A good round of applause. It's a surprise for them, and we hope the person who's going to bring it is coming back soon. So I thanked them before, and I want to thank them again because I think it was a very challenging journey. Okay, and perhaps someone who wants to say something else on top of what Thomas said this morning. Is there anyone? who wants to say it? Anybody would like to say it? To thank Sarah and Lisa? Come on.
Anything you want to say?
Come on. No? No?
That's what the tongue is. Understandably.
But I know that they really enjoyed it. I know that you did. I know that you did, you know. And it shows how committed you were in your speeches, how interesting your speeches were, how things changed in the last couple of weeks, really. You could see that yourself. So that's really thanks to the skills that these two ladies here have. You know, the two formidable teachers, educators, as I said before, and international Oracy leaders. So hopefully next year, how many of you would like to continue next year? How many of you would like to continue next year? Without the event? So people maybe put their hands up. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. That's good. Good. Yeah, yeah. And we're also waiting for the principal to actually join us.
Yes, we're waiting.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But does anybody want to say what it feels like to be here today? 2 words. 2 words. Come on. I did say I felt this word. Okay, Sophia, yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. You were saved. You were saved. You were saved. Okay. So that's from us. Thank you to both of you. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a photograph together. Thanks.
Okay, so now we are waiting for the principal to come to say a few words. I think he's on his way. So he should be here in a couple of minutes. Anybody want to try again? Anybody? Ludovica, would you like to have a go? Valentina? There's Valentina, I can't see her. Valentina's still outside. Because I can't see it. Put my glasses on this thing. Valentina, would you like to try or pass? Okay. Okay. So I'd like to hear some reflections on the project. Yeah? Somebody who's willing to come up and say a few words. Anybody would like to help? You can actually, if you want to, you can say it. You can say it in Italian if you want to, because either in English or in Italian, because at home maybe they'll understand more Italian. Anybody? Davide? Davide, please come down to the stage and say something. Give him a round of applause for his courage. Not easy.
I would say that it was a very interesting project because it took English to a new level because it's not simply the grammar, the lexical parts of English, but also it's important today to learn English, but also expressing English, because also for all the languages we can't learn a new language if we don't talk it. We don't talk and we don't know how to express ourselves with words of that language. And it was a very interesting project also because it united us after a very hard period of time. It helps to unite ourselves in groups, and I like that much. And I would say thank you for those lessons.
Yes, I must say it was quite challenging, especially when we had the lessons with 50% at home and 50% in the classroom. It was difficult, and sometimes technology didn't run as smoothly as possible. and you were very, very resilient and patient and stuck with us on it. So we really do appreciate the hard work that you put into this project. Only one negative thing, it was too short. There wasn't enough time. If we'd have started, in optimal times, we could start at the beginning of the school year and have all this time. So the fact that you took on these speeches with so much dedication and enthusiasm and such a very high level you demonstrated today really is refreshing, and it's really going to help us all to get back into our new normal. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and we're just waiting for your vote. Okay. So, Sophia, would you like to come up now, please? Yes. I don't know which getting out her magic bag. I don't know. There's a surprise.
This year, I must say, I was very lucky. I couldn't be here, as you know, and I was very lucky to be substituted by this wonderful young teacher. It was fantastic, full of enthusiasm, competent, very collaborative, and open, very adventurous, open to any new experience. So I really want to homage her and say thank you for how precious she was this year. Thank you.
Oh, you're making me emotional.
Okay.
Lots of teachers cry. So, well, what can I say? I really appreciate it. For the students, you were wonderful. You were everybody. Okay, sorry. So you did a wonderful job. You committed yourself to this project and for the first year to this new school, to this whole new world for you. And I think you were very patient. You were a very good student, being half at home, half in class, very adapting very well to the new situations. Each week was different, and you're very good. For my experience, I have to give a huge thanks to Professor Cerconi, because I was a student as well, and I had a great teacher. And so I'm still learning. I know that I have to learn a lot, but she set the bar very high, and I hope to get half as good as she is. So thank you. And also thanks Sarah and Lisa for everything you taught me as well. So thank you.
So, as our headmaster has just arrived, I would like the winners of the books to repeat their speech for the headmaster. Okay, so could please Nicola and Beatrice come up to the front? Yes, come here. He's going, we fare il suo discorso adesso perché l'ho fatto prima, ma è stato premiato per il contenuto del suo discorso.
Okay, so good morning again, everyone. Today I'm gonna tell you the greatest lesson I have ever learned. We come to school every day to learn, but not all the lessons that life can give to you are learned here. In fact, after my grandfather's death, I understood a lesson that has made me be more responsible and that has changed my personality. That's because after his death, I understood that it's not important how much time we have, but how we spend it. And we waste a lot of it. And logically, we shouldn't waste it, because in the future we may regret about some decision that we have taken. And because we live only once, and we cannot afford the luxury of wasting our opportunities and our time. So, as the famous, Then I think also that if we could go back in time, we would do it without even thinking about it, because each of us has lost something such as relatives or maybe great opportunities. So we would all go back in time. But actually we cannot. So the only thing that we can do is to learn from our mistakes to improve ourselves more and more. So as the famous Latin author Seneca said, it's not true that we have a little amount of time. The truth is that we waste a lot of it. Then remember, don't waste your time, and carpe diem, catch the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now, Peter, could you repeat your speech? Okay, thank you very much. If you can take your mask off, yes?
Okay. So, what is anxiety and how does it affect your life? Anxiety is often associated with the combination of fear, anguish, and worry. And it follows a stimulus of lack of preparation to a given situation that the individual couldn't handle or didn't know how to respond to. But for those who suffer from anxiety disorders, this can be very different, since this feeling can be caused by not certain situations or not particular causes. And unfortunately, nowadays, many people suffer from anxiety, and the most important thing I think we need to understand is that it is normal to feel anxious, and that having control over our own thoughts is not as simple. For example, many times it happened to me to walk up the stairs and feeling my heart speeding up. And usually I would think that's normal, I would just walk up the stairs. But because of my anxiety, I would just think that I'm probably going to pass out and that I'm having a heart attack. And usually and frequently, the feeling of having a heart attack has become quite frequent, along with the increasing of stress and, of course, anxiety. And I think that's why we should speak more about it, because I often found myself reacting to certain events differently because of how anxiety influenced my thoughts. For example, a frequent situation I find myself in when I panic is canceling plans at the very last moment. And because of that, I tend to avoid social events. And of course, because of that, I tend also to miss important experiences in my life. And that's not cool. And I think that's what we should say more. We should, we should talk more about mental health, because it is important, and maybe in the future it will happen to not know how to respond to a panic or anxiety attack. And that's a thing that happens very frequently to teenagers. So I think mental health should be a priority in our life, and we should talk more about it. And something that has always helped me with anxiety and panicking is just taking a deep breath, engaging all 5 senses, and just writing all my feelings out. And yes, I am Beatrice Ufalari. This was how anxiety affects my life. Thank you for listening.
And now Thomas gave a little speech at the beginning today, and now he's going to give it again for our headmaster. Okay?
Buongiorno a tutti, sono Thomas Lorenzetti dalla classe seconda F e vi vorrei parlare di quello che io e la mia classe abbiamo imparato con il progetto Oracy Voice 21. Personalmente il progetto mi è piaciuto molto perché ho avuto la capacità, la possibilità di sviluppare le mie capacità di parlare davanti a un pubblico, e concordando con la classe il fatto che abbiamo avuto la possibilità di parlare di determinati argomenti e quindi di esprimere le nostre emozioni e i nostri pensieri è stato molto bello. E questo perché durante le lezioni, fra virgolette, normali non abbiamo la possibilità di parlare di argomenti attuali, e invece con il progetto Oracy Voice abbiamo avuto la possibilità appunto di esprimerci, e questo è stato molto molto bello. Infatti per questo saremo molto contenti se anche il prossimo anno potremo continuare il progetto. Voglio ringraziare la professoressa Cerponi, Sarah Howell, Lisa Kester-Dodgson e Sarah Palombarini per averci dato la possibilità, e anche del preside per averci dato la possibilità di appunto partecipare in questo progetto.
Grazie per la traduzione in diretta, perché ha scritto il discorso in inglese e l'ha riprodotto in italiano. Bravissimo.
Ha detto lui, ha parlato lui già per me. Quello che ha detto lui.
Sì. C'è il microfono perché sono in live streaming. Quindi
sì, sì. Con chi streamiamo? Cioè, questa voce... Va bene, allora mi congratulo con voi per la bella iniziativa che, come diceva Lorenzo o Lorenzetti, Thomas, si è sentito molto coinvolto. Sapete che c'è un piano scuola estate che sarà avviato adesso durante quest'estate, che ha proprio come obiettivo quello che diceva lui, poter parlare, comunicare le proprie opinioni, anche il proprio modo di percepire la situazione in cui ci troviamo, in cui voi dovete essere molto protagonisti, cioè tirare fuori quello che normalmente durante le lezioni non riuscite a tirar fuori, perché voi siete molto abituati a rispondere a delle domande, quindi vi aspettate di interagire con gli insegnanti a domanda risponde, come fosse un interrogatorio dei carabinieri. In realtà la cosa più bella è quella che diceva Thomas, cioè essere protagonisti. Evidentemente in questo progetto che vi ha molto coinvolto vi siete sentiti protagonisti. L'auspicio di Thomas, lo rifaremo, e perché no? Tutto ciò che trova il vostro entusiasmo, il vostro stimola la vostra partecipazione, ben venga, io sono dispostissimo, anzi sarò il primo a spingere perché questo progetto si possa ripetere, reiterare nel tempo. Vi vedo tutti molto coinvolti, io sono un elemento disturbatore, me ne vado rapidissimamente.
No, preside, anzi.
Anche perché ho un appuntamento, preferirei molto stare con voi. Devo andare dal dentista, quindi starei con voi fino a stasera. Però, va bene.
No, vorrei solo dire che questo progetto è un progetto di grande inclusione, perché lo facciamo di mattina, proprio perché, a differenza del progetto di cui parlava lei d'estate, non sono rivolti solo a studenti che lo possono fare o vogliono sceglierlo, ma è dare proprio la possibilità a tutti di diventare dei bravi parlanti, cioè dei parlanti, di essere educati proprio al parlare, no?
Sì.
E quindi noi vorremmo anche il prossimo anno, perché il discorso sa che è legato un po' a Voice 21, no? Che è questa associazione non profit britannica, no? Che ha fatto, diciamo, della sua filosofia, l'Oracy, la sua filosofia, no? In alcune scuole, e quindi ha un grande successo. Quindi noi vorremmo ampliarlo, estenderlo se possibile, anche come operazione di formazione dei docenti, anche alle altre lingue e anche ad altri subject, altri altre discipline, se possibile, se ci sono le volontà dei docenti.
Come?
Ecco, loro parlano anche italiano,
Allora,
quindi possono formare anche altri
il liceo
docenti.
linguistico è in grande rivoluzione, grande evoluzione.
Anche uno scientifico.
Anche uno scientifico?
Sì, primo il ragazzo, prima il primo
benissimo, comunque il liceo linguistico ha scelto la strada della grande innovazione, quindi stanno progettando tantissime cose. Questo sicuramente rientra. Allora, una scuola in cui i ragazzi siano maggiormente protagonisti, cioè uscire da quello schema che dicevo prima. Adesso i vostri compagni che andranno all'esame si trovano disorientati perché all'esame l'esame è basato sul protagonismo degli studenti, ma se gli studenti sono soltanto abituati a rispondere a delle domande, Ecco, invece venire qui, per esempio, esporre il proprio pensiero, il proprio modo di percepire le cose, vi aiuta ad acquisire una competenza. Spesso la scuola si limita a dare delle conoscenze, però venire qui a parlare di qualcosa significa organizzare i contenuti, esprimere un proprio personale punto di vista, essere capaci di affrontare anche qualcuno che non è d'accordo con me, che io potrei esporre una mia idea, un mio modo di pensare, lui ce n'ha un altro. Quindi entrano in gioco questo protagonismo degli studenti, il maggiore protagonismo degli studenti, fa entrare in gioco delle competenze che sono le competenze vere che poi servono nella vita. Saper parlare, che sapete, una cosa è parlare da soli davanti allo specchio, preparo la interrogazione, una cosa è parlare davanti a 2, davanti a 3, una cosa è parlare davanti a una moltitudine. Sono delle competenze che uno acquisisce esercitandole, però è fondamentale il protagonismo, perché altrimenti è un interrogatorio. L'interrogazione, per certi versi, è un interrogatorio. Va bene, io non vi sto disturbando, non voglio continuare di più. Buon lavoro, siete in chiusura? Allora vi lascio chiudere. Buon lavoro, certo che
Noi
riprenderemo.
ringraziamo tantissimo Preside anche per la disponibilità.
Come
Siamo
no?
inseriti con il progetto grazie alla filosofia innovativa di questa scuola, possiamo dire. E poi volevo solo dire, per chiudere, che ieri è stata la festa della Repubblica. Il Presidente della Repubblica ha detto che voi ragazzi siete il futuro, ma per essere il futuro vero, il futuro che conta, dovete avere una voce e dovete saper esprimerlo. E vi consiglio, se c'è un progetto Oracy o no, di comunque continuare a coltivare la vostra voce. È fondamentale che voi avete la vostra voce, potete esprimerla nel futuro per creare il vostro futuro migliore. E questo è quello che noi vi auguriamo. Grazie, grazie
Va bene.
tantissimo.
Buon proseguimento. Ciao.